Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs have made the top 5 for one of the best running back prospects in the country. I'm talking about 5-star Savan Heer out of Woodbury Forest in Virginia. Now, he is in the 2026 class, okay? Doesn't matter. This kid is elite. 5'11", 200 pounds. He is a tackle-breaking machine, and Georgia, like we expected over on Dawgs, made his top group. We've got a story about it over on the website. So, of course, I reached out to him when he dropped the news. I said, hey, man, I know you've been high on Georgia for a while. We've talked before. I've written about him in the spring. But what was the biggest reason why Georgia made your top group? And he gave me an answer that I think all Georgia fans are going to love. He said, Georgia's running back year for a reason. I could definitely see myself playing in that offense and being developed for the next level. They've had a lot of success there, so who wouldn't want to be part of a program like that? Also, Coach Crawford, Georgia's new running backs coach this year, Coach Smart and the staff have really built a great relationship with me. They won back-to-back titles recently, so obviously the program is successful. Everything is elite at Georgia. He's an elite running back. He knows Georgia's an elite program. And like he said, I mean, this is a guy who is one of the best in the country who could end up in Athens. And again, I know a lot of you are thinking he's 2026, so far away. I'm telling you right now, if you want to be a 5-star Georgia fan, you got to know these kids. This kid is important, and he is just a junior in high school, but he's trucking kids. He's running by kids. This is a guy who could play early in Athens if he chooses to go that route, because there's a chance Georgia might just take one running back in this current 2025 class. So whoever they sign in 2026, they're looking at this saying, hey, I've got a real chance to play early. They only took one running back, and if it doesn't work out, or if I think I'm better than that guy, by the time I get to Athens, I'm going to have a pretty good shot at playing early. But this is a guy that Georgia's been after for a while now. He's one of their top targets in the 26 class. He was in Athens for a spring practice back in March. I reached out to him and got a great interview back then. Here's what he said about watching Georgia practice this spring. He said practice was very fast-paced and it looked like every single player was getting reps and getting coached up. It was crazy how Coach Smart was in the middle of the field but was still able to notice everything going on around practice, which is a great tidbit because he's absolutely right there. He said Coach Crawford is all about developing his running backs the same, regardless if you're a starter or not. And real quick, I should have mentioned this earlier. Georgia made his top 5 with Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, and Tennessee. This second, still a long way to go. This second, I think this could shape up to be a Georgia-Ohio State battle. But after that spring visit, I was told that Georgia's going to be in the mix the entire way. So this is not a surprise that Georgia made his top group here. And I've got some numbers right here for you. Last year as a sophomore, playing for a program that is very small, right? He's not playing against the best competition. Very small high school from what I've gathered, but his talent was on full display, even though he was just trucking and running through these kids. He totaled 1,187 yards, just over 1,000 rushing, 91 receiving, 36 returning, 11 total touchdowns. He rushed 150 times last year, 7.1 yards a carry, while rushing for 117 yards a game. So the production was there. The talent is there. He's ranked as the number 2 running back in the country for the 2026 class. He's the number 29 overall prospect. Again, this kid's elite. He's the best prospect in Virginia for his class. So the ranking is there. The talent's there. The size is there. And this is a guy who right now in that region can score anytime he touches the football. He's shifty. He can change directions. He can run through you, runs with balance, runs behind his pads. I wouldn't call him a burner, right? I don't believe he's got like true track speed, but he does run an 11.1 in the 100-meter, which is an incredibly respectful time for someone 200 pounds. So I would consider him fast, but I wouldn't say he brings elite speed to the table. Not a lot of people do. But this is a bruising back who can break tackles, but is fast enough to break a 50, 60-yard run. So I really like this player. So does the Georgia staff. And this is a guy who, I've said in the past, I could see him at Georgia. Now Georgia's in his top 5. Again, no surprise. And, with the quotes that he's given me, he knows that Georgia's an elite program. He knows that he can do big things at Georgia. So this is definitely a guy, even though he's young, even though he's in the 2026 class, he is a guy that Georgia fans who follow recruiting, because those are the 5-star fans, right? You got to follow recruiting. If you don't follow recruiting, how do you know who the freshmen are, right? Entering the season, right? Five-star Georgia fans follow recruiting. And if you're a five-star Georgia fan, you still need to keep your eye on the 26 kids. And I know people commit and flip easily when they commit early. But this is a young man who I do think he has a good head on his shoulders. I don't think he's going to decommit when he does commit. I think he wants to be fully on board and make that decision. Georgia can absolutely land this kid, which could be a little troubling for me because his name is Savan Heer, and there's already been a couple of times where my laptop has autocorrected to the bad guy, right, from like 80, 90 years ago. I love a World War II documentary as much as anyone. I watch one on my laptop 1, 2, 3, 10 times, and now it's weird that the autocorrect came that quickly, but anti-Nazi podcast, anti-Hitler podcast. I want to get that out there, okay? But yeah, Savan Heer is an absolute baller of a running back. But I've got a few more minutes. I don't want to keep talking about him. I feel like I touched everything. But I want to talk about some of the Georgia running backs currently on the roster, including Branson Robinson. Kirby Smart had a lot to say about Branson Robinson and Trevor Etienne earlier this week. But first, I got to do it. collegebronze.com. That's where you can get the #1 Georgia Bulldog statue on the market. You're not going to find anything as good looking as this bad boy right here. The spikes are metal. It's perfectly painted. He looks great on your front porch. This is it. And this is the place where you can get a discount. Promo code DAWGPOST, DAWGPOST. That's the only place where you can get a discount on the best looking #1 Georgia Bulldog statue on the market today. You can order in the link in the description below this video. So all the 5-star reviews are right there. That's where you can order, and that's where you put in the promo code DAWGPOST so you can get a discount. Get it today. It's made in Roswell, Georgia. Local small business. Get it today so you have it for the season. Okay, where are those notes? Okay, here's what Kirby Smart had to say about Branson Robinson. It's a little long, it's a little lengthy, and I've got to read it. Again, Kennesaw State education. I might stumble over a word or two or five, but stick with me, okay? He said, Branson's a really hard worker. First of all, he came in with some tendonitis, so it was really hard for him his freshman year to push and get through. There were times at camp when he couldn't even run. He never complained. He's just as tough mentally and physically. He's got great parents. They pushed him. He's a great leader. From the time of the injury, he never pouted, cried. I didn't know that the kids are crying these days, or at least football players. Maybe they do. You know, everyone's got emotions, except for Branson Robinson. He ain't crying out there. He ain't pouting. He just understood that was part of the game, and it was a significant injury. For him to come back and not even get to really go through spring practice, he did some of the things in spring, but he didn't get to go full speed. It's been great having him back from a physical toughness standpoint, a reliability standpoint, ball security, third down pickups, special teams. He's just a really good football player. I love the way he went about doing things. Trevor Etienne is a natural leader. He's been that way since he was at Florida. He was that way. He was a very confident kid. He leads by example. He gets up there first. He's hard on guys when he needs to be. He speaks up in front of the team, and he's a tremendous asset. That's your running back one. You got him from Florida. He's already talking to the team, standing up and being a leader and putting guys in place. That's exactly what you want to hear. I think he's going to play against Clemson because the driving charges were dropped. There's no reason to sit him, right? If the charges were the charges and they were upheld, yeah, I could see him being suspended a game or two. But if the charges are dropped and you've got Roger Robinson out with a turf toe, Trevor Etienne needs to be out there playing against the Clemson Tigers. You're going to see him. Branson Robinson is coming back from a season injury, ending knee injury from last year. I think he's close to 100%, but you never really know. So you need Etienne out there. We're going to see some Branson Robinson. And Nate Frazier, an absolute dog. Georgia fans are going to love that guy. I think we're going to see him against Clemson too. So they've got a stable of backs. They got backs who can run through you. Powerful, 200-plus pound running backs. There's a lot to like about that group. And like I've said the entire offseason, spring, through the summer, now in fall practice, I had a lot of people tell me, Georgia's going to run through teams. That offensive line, those big, powerful tackle-breaking backs back there, and there's several of them, along with Carson Beck. Carson Beck's great. He's going to throw for a lot of yards, and he's going to help put up a lot of points. But Georgia can run through teams if they want to. That shouldn't I'm not going to say it won't be an issue. It shouldn't be an issue. Can they run through Texas and Alabama, right? That's the big question. But I think they should have a lot of success. I mean, Auburn's tough to run on. Tennessee can be tough to run on. Georgia's run through them plenty in recent memory. But we'll see. But one of the best in the country is very high on Georgia. You can read more about that over on Dawg Post. Thanks for watching this video. Hope you learned something. Get your Bulldog today. And I'll see you over on the website.